Coach, your losses, Joel has struggled. Have you seen any kind of common theme in those games where he hasn't been at his best? We all know, obviously, how important he is to your success.
Yeah, usually, to break it down even as strictly as you can, the ball doesn't go in the basket for him. You know, he hasn't had many of those games that people use the word struggle where his shot has gone in or he's gotten in foul trouble. But he's extremely important. But, you know, it's sort of like football, it's only one of 11 guys. Basketball, it's one of 5. Okay, and if that one of 5 happens to be your point guard, it's I think it's exaggerated even more. So he sets the line of our defense. He's a tremendous outside shooter. He pushes the pace. He does all those kind of things. And when it's not going well for him, it is a big loss.
Zach Brazil, New York Post. Coach, what did you think of the cowboy hats?
I didn't necessarily think they were cowboy hats. Is that what you think they are? Could be mafia hats. Who knows? You know, I like them. I've got one. We're going to have a team picture made today with everybody. Thank you, Eric. We're going to have a team picture made today with everybody, the coaches included, with the hats. I don't look good in the hat at all. May not look good anyway, but I know I don't look good in the hat. But I'm going to try to put mine on. And he asked me what color, what band, all this stuff. It's hats by Shea. It's a pretty neat deal.
Roy Mark with ABC 11 back home. You've obviously been previously outspoken on many occasions about the HB2 stuff. Does it feel, is that ship sailed now that you're here, or are you conscious of it being here?
Oh, I still think I'm conscious of it being here because I'm afraid what's going to happen the next few years. I mean, I hope to coach a little bit longer. I hope this is not my last hurrah kind of thing. But so I'm very sad, very disappointed about the whole thing and what apparently is something that is really, really hard to change. But people in Greenville have been great. We already practiced today at the school right out of town, and they were great. I asked them if they painted their floor trimmed in Carolina blue just because we came. They said no, that was their colors. And yeah, it bothers me. It's really something. It's very, very sad to me, to be honest with you. It's one of the best press conferences I've ever been to.
Do we have any additional questions for Coach?
Following up on the last one, how much of an inconvenience is it really to be a number 1 seed and have to go kind of on the road like this?
You know, I don't really look at it like that. You know, I loved when I was at Kansas playing close to home and North Carolina playing close to home. And if I can't play close to home, I always say, give me the warmest place, you know, because I'm tired of the wintertime. But I don't really look at it like that. I just think, again, sad is the commentary I would probably use. That word I would use is because the people in the state of North Carolina and the kids in the state of North Carolina aren't getting the opportunities that we have had in the past. And I think that's the biggest thing with me right there. It's not the way I'd like for it to be.
Roy, Nicole Auerbach, USA Today. One question on Jason Tatum. You guys have seen him quite a bit in the last month or so, and he's really taken off since then. What do you think has been the difference with him? And did you notice, maybe even the first game against you guys, where he kind of went off in that second half as a turning point for him, but what makes him so good this last month?
You know, I think with every freshman, you have no idea when the light bulb's going to go on. The more gifted they are, you hope it goes on a lot quicker if you're their coach. But I recruited Jason very hard, saw him play tons of times. I think the injury, and I can't even right now, I apologize, can't even remember what his injury was, but I know he missed some time early. So I think it's just the probably getting healthy is the biggest thing, the familiarity, and then being able all of a sudden to do things that he had been able to do in high school gave him more confidence. But I think it's just Father Time gave him a little bit of a help to getting over the injuries, and maybe when he did get started in there, it was a little bit later than everybody else, so he may have fresher legs now too. But I do think just getting healthy was probably the biggest thing from the outside looking in. Yes, I can hear you.
Just what are the problems that Texas Southern presents?
You know, looking at, first of all, it's scary when someone's won, I'm going to miss this, I probably shouldn't even say it, 19 or the last 21 games or something like that. They played 16 straight games on the road. I've known Mike for a long time, even when he was an assistant in Indiana and then the head coach at Indiana. I think taking his team on the road like that helped them financially and probably taught them some tough love kind of thing with the adversity they faced. You look at them, they've got 4 starters averaging double figures, and I think Marvin's like 9.6. So they're a balanced team. Trey Jefferson, the speed and quickness that he does things with. Lofton, the things he does to you inside, outside, averages 6 or 7 free throws a game. So it's the kind of team that I don't like to play because everybody scores, not just one guy. I think it's always a little easier to guard when the team only has one guy to score, unless it's like Malik did us in Vegas when he got 47. But they don't mind a fast pace, so I know our pace is not going to bother them. They play man-to-man. They're who they are. They know their strengths, know their weaknesses. There's a reason they're here. You know, when you go through the league play and only lose twice and then turn around and win your conference tournament again, that's pretty impressive. So to me, there's a lot of things. I wouldn't say just one thing that jumps out. Go ahead.
We'll switch
Okay.
and then come back.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Joe Gorcho, WIS-TV, Columbia, South Carolina. You were talking about freshmen to begin with, but in particular the Seventh Woods. I was just talking to him. He said in the beginning he battled confidence issues because, you know, a kid like him was making such a big impact. How have you brought him along to help him become a more confident player that, you know, comes off the bench when he can to contribute?
You know, I haven't made him a very confident player, and I wish I could have done a better job with him, really. But the biggest thing with Seventh is he's been battling injuries since the end of his senior year in high school. He got hurt at the end of his senior year, and he didn't play in many of the all-star games or anything in the spring because he was hurt. Came to Chapel Hill in the summer and went to one session of summer school, and, you know, and then starts practice. We had played, I can't tell you when it was, but we had been playing quite a few games. I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your body? He said about a 5 or 6. And then I know a month or so ago we got it up to an 8. And when you're a freshman, number one, point guard, number two, somebody throws a lot of things at you if they play the way we do. So we've thrown a lot of things at him mentally, and then the biggest thing is that he wasn't as healthy as we needed him to be and as he wanted to be. Because when he's healthy, he's got a gear that a lot of people don't have. And so just recently we've started seeing Seventh do the things that we thought he could do all along, but because of his body and the aches and pains and not being healthy, he lost some of his confidence there, and I haven't been able to get him back to where I'd like for him to be confidence-wise. But I say this, and I believe it, other than his mom and his dad, nobody thinks he's going to be as good a player as Roy Williams does.
With Brad Fralick with WYFF here in Greenville, by the way, with the way that last year ended, what kind of motivation has that served, especially now that tournament time is here?
Well, I think it's two ways. The way that last year ended, meaning the final shot and that we lost the national championship game, I'm hoping that motivated them, and we talked about it, providing some motivation or fuel to work extremely hard in the offseason. And then when practice started, I said it's motivation for that reason, but it's also motivation because what we did last year was great. You know, everybody in the country would love to have done what we did last year. There was only one team that enjoyed it more than we did. So I think for me, just talking to the kids and reminding them how much fun it was last year, let's try to do that again. So I think we've used it as motivation a little bit. But, you know, kids maybe not be just driven as old guys like me because of something that happened. They may just want it because they want it themselves, and that's okay. But I do try to remind them how much fun we had last year also, not just the hurt of the last shot.
Hey, Roy, Al Featherston, Access Sports. I wanted to, not talking about tomorrow especially, but 32 years, we've never had a 16 beat a 1. Is it going to happen, or is it close to happening at some point?
Who knows, Al? I mean, I tell you what, every coach of the number one always worries like the Dickens about it the night before. It's something you always think about. I forget what year it was, but I'm going to guess 2002 when I was at Kansas. I mean, we were right there. We were a 1 seed in St. Louis playing against Holy Cross. And Kirk Heinrich got hurt during the course of the game, and we were right there starting to make history. And but kids made some big plays down the stretch, and we ended up winning the game. But yeah, I'd say it's probably going to happen. Let's just, the way I look at it, if I'm a 1 seed, let's just put it off for another year. If I were a 2 seed, I wouldn't care. Probably happy. Get it out of my way.